Most football fans think World Cup groups are decided by one thing: winning matches. But every once in a while, football creates a situation so ridiculously close that FIFA has to dig deep into its rulebook to separate two teams. Because there is a hidden FIFA rule that can eliminate your country from the World Cup even if you're tied on points, tied on goal difference, tied on goals scored, and tied on almost everything else. In fact, a yellow card from weeks earlier could end up deciding who goes home. So how does this rule work, and why does FIFA trust it with one of the biggest decisions in world football? When a World Cup group finishes, the first thing FIFA looks at is points. If two teams are tied on points, FIFA moves to goal difference. Still tied? Then FIFA looks at total goals scored. But football has a funny habit of producing situations nobody expects. Imagine two teams finishing with the exact same number of points, the exact same goal difference, the exact same number of goals scored. Now things start getting complicated. So FIFA moves to another set of tiebreakers: head-to-head results.
How did those teams perform against each other? Who scored more in that matchup? Because eventually, FIFA can run out of football statistics. And when that happens, FIFA reaches for one of the most unusual tiebreakers in the entire sport: the Fair Play rule. FIFA actually tracks how disciplined every team is during the tournament. Every yellow card, every red card. And unlike points in the standings, these numbers work in reverse. The fewer disciplinary points you collect, the better. In other words, being better behaved can literally keep you in the World Cup. A yellow card costs a team 1 disciplinary point. An indirect red card, which happens when a player receives 2 yellow cards in the same match, costs 3 points. A straight red card costs 4 points. And if a player receives a yellow card and then a direct red card later in the same match, that's 5 points. The team with the better disciplinary record wins the tiebreaker. Suddenly, every unnecessary foul starts looking expensive. Every argument with the referee becomes risky. Every tactical yellow card carries consequences beyond the match itself. It might become a World Cup decision. Let's go back to the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Japan and Senegal found themselves in one of the tightest group stage battles football has ever seen. When the group ended, both teams had the same number of points, the same goal difference, the same number of goals scored. Even their head-to-head match had finished level. FIFA worked through the entire list of tiebreakers, and nothing separated them until the Fair Play rule. Japan had collected fewer yellow cards during the tournament.
That was it. That was the difference. After thousands of passes, countless tackles, dozens of chances, and 3 group stage matches each, Japan advanced to the knockout stage because their players had been booked less often. Senegal were eliminated. Not because they played worse football, not because they scored fewer goals, not because they lost more matches, because they had accumulated more disciplinary points. It's one of the rarest eliminations in World Cup history. The idea behind the Fair Play rule is actually pretty logical. If two teams are completely inseparable on football performance, FIFA wants a way to reward sportsmanship. The organization believes discipline should matter. After all, football isn't only about scoring goals. It's also about respecting the game, the officials, and the rules. At least, that's the theory.
In practice, the rule has plenty of critics. Many fans argue that a World Cup should never be decided by yellow cards. They believe footballing performance should always come first. Others point out that refereeing decisions can vary from match to match. A yellow card in one game might not be a yellow card in another. So should something that subjective decide who advances? That's where the debate begins. And honestly, both sides have a point. Without the rule, FIFA would eventually need an even stranger way to separate teams. A random draw, a coin flip, or some other system that feels even less satisfying. The Fair Play rule may not be perfect, but it gives teams some control over their own destiny. And perhaps that's why it has survived.
Now, the rule might become even more important. The 2026 World Cup expanded from 32 teams to 48 teams. More teams mean more groups. More groups mean more complicated qualification scenarios. And more complicated qualification scenarios create more opportunities for ties. Which means there's a very real chance that disciplinary points could become a major storyline again. Somewhere in the future, a player will probably receive a yellow card that seems completely meaningless at the time. Fans will forget about it, commentators will move on, the match will end. And weeks later, that tiny moment might decide whether an entire nation reaches the knockout stage. That's the crazy thing about tournament football. The biggest moments aren't always goals. Sometimes they're the details nobody notices. And sometimes, even a yellow card can decide history. And that's what makes the fair play rule so fascinating. It's a reminder that every action in a tournament can matter. Every tackle, every argument, every yellow card. Most fans spend the World Cup watching goals, saves, and celebrations. But hidden beneath all of that is a system quietly tracking every disciplinary decision. A system that almost nobody thinks about until it suddenly changes everything. So the next time you see a player receive a yellow card in a World Cup match, remember this story, because that card might be worth far more than anyone realizes. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more football explainers that make the sport's biggest systems easy to understand, make sure to subscribe. It might not decide the match, it might not decide the group, but one day, it could decide history.